Welcome back to the Markout Movie Podcast. This is Brandon Spivey, and I am today doing an episode on Atrociously Bad Films, ABF. This is the second episode of this current series. I have did one on Critters Attacks, which is on Anchor, so if you want to go check that out, just go to anchor.com, type in Markout Movie Podcast, and scroll down till you find Critters Attacks. It's a doozy. But today I am going to be reviewing a little movie called Pieces. Came out in 1982.
Pieces. It's exactly what you think it is. Pieces. Absolutely no one under 17 will be admitted.
It was directed, if I can find it real quick, directed by Juan Piquer. I'm going to pronounce this guy's name so horrible. Juan Piquer Simon. Music was composed by Labrado Pastor, Carlo Maria Cordillo, Stelvio Cipriani, Fabio Frizzi, Enrico, I can't pronounce that, and Elaine LaRue. The languages for this film was English, Spanish, and Italian. It's produced by Dick Randall, Stephen Millison. Yeah, so there you go. Let's get into what the story's about real quick. Okay, while playing with a puzzle, a teenager is repressed by his mother, and he kills her and severs her body with an axe. 40 years later, in a university campus in Boston, a serial killer kills young women and severs their body parts, stealing body pieces from each student. Lieutenant Bracken makes a deal with the dean of the campus and infiltrates the agent Mary Riggs as if she were a tennis teacher. And together with the student Kendall, they try to find the identity of the killer. This movie stars Christopher George as Lieutenant Bracken, Linda Day George as Mary Riggs, Frank Brana as Sergeant Randy Holden, Edmund Perdome as the dean, Ian Sarah as Kendall, Paul L. Smith as Willard, and Jack Taylor as Professor Arthur Brown, with some other girls, but we won't get into that right now. Let's get into the scores, shall we? It has a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb. DV Netflix gives it 3 out of 5. 85% like this movie on Google. Rotten Tomato scores, here we go. It has a 46% on the tomato meter, with the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is at 51. And its box office total in 1982 was $2 million. So there you go. So basically, let's get into the story real quick. Honestly, when we do these kind of films, review these films on this show, it's going to go one or two ways. It's just going to go one or two ways. We're either going to embrace how bad it is, or we're going to trash it. But in this case, I'm going to embrace it because I had a lot of fun with this movie. I had a lot of fun. I didn't know what to expect. One of the taglines in this movie is, you know what to expect. You don't have to go to Texas to get a chainsaw massacre. I love that. I think that's great.
And you don't have to go to Texas for a chainsaw massacre.
It's great marketing for a movie like this, because it is about a chainsaw killer who wears a hat and has a mask. You never actually see the mask fully. I don't recall ever seeing the mask. I remember him in a hat, and he was like in a trench coat, but I didn't really see the mask. I don't know if he was actually wearing a mask, but I know in one synopsis it said he was. But yeah, I don't recall seeing a mask because they knew who he was, some of the girls. But yeah, so he starts off as a teenager. He likes puzzles. He likes puzzles. So he's working on this puzzle with this, I presume, a naked model. I guess they sold that in the 40s. This is supposed to be 1942 when this is supposed to be happening. And so he's doing his puzzle. His mom walks in on him. She beats the crap out of him.
Where did this filth come from? Answer me! Answer me!
He's just like his father. So what does he do? Common sense for him says to go grab an axe and just chop at her. Bang, bang, bang. And I'm like, okay. I was like, okay. He went psycho on her. So that's cool. I mean, not for her, but that's cool. Drink some Dr. Pepper before I get into this fully. So what's he do afterward? What does he do? He continues to play with the puzzle. Then he will hear sirens coming, and then he's like, oh, they're coming. Then he hears a doorbell ring. Oh, they're here for me. I gotta do something. So, and I swear, I believe he's opening the door and exiting the door that two cops, and I guess the neighbor, and they're like, oh, someone's been butchered. Let's open this door. So they do that. They open that door, and it's the mother's head, which it took me back to Friday the 13th Part 2 when you see the mother's head in the fridge. So it's kind of like, okay, that's cool. So they check the closet where just the boy's covered all in blood, right? And he's like, mommy, mommy, mommy. And I'm like, okay, common sense says this kid killed his mom. Even if you weren't there, he killed his mom. But the policeman was like, oh, Timmy, Timmy, poor boy, poor boy. He has a father that's in the Air Force or in some military, but he has an aunt that lives somewhere else. Let's take him to the aunt.
Oh, this is terrible.
Yes. So here we go. So it cuts 40 years later. What happens in the 40 years? I don't know. We don't know. But who cares, right? Did they have a script? I think not, ladies and gentlemen. I think not. I don't think they had an actual script for this movie. I think they just winged it, and it's awesome that they winged it. If they winged it. If they didn't wing it, okay, it's a terrible script. But I think they winged it. I do. I think it. But anyway, we cut to 40 years later, 1982. There's this girl out in the yard on campus, right? She's reading a book. There's a guy with a chainsaw. He was wearing a mask. He was wearing a mask there. He was wearing one there. He says, it'll only be a few minutes. And I will say this. That guy in the beginning is not the same guy that you end up finding out who the killer is. It's not him. It's not him. But he says only be a few minutes. So what's he do? He revs that chainsaw up, right? It's getting closer to her. She's like, here, looking around, like, where is it at? And I'm just like, okay, that's awesome. You don't know where he is. He's right. He's gonna be right in front of you in a second, because I know how these things work. We all know. Horror nerds know how these things work. All right, horror fans, horror nerds, whatever. They know how these things work. You're looking all around, and the next thing you know, he's going to be right in front of you. And next thing you know, you're getting chainsawed up and down. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm just so excited. I'm loving this movie because it is so bad. It is so bad, but it is so good. I mean, it is good. I feel like I'm a preach right now. Like, it's just so good. And I'm like, so I don't, a lot happened in this movie, and I'm going to really try to get to it. But I'm going to miss some things because I can't spend an hour on this. But he starts killing these random girls and taking their body parts, which I didn't know he was actually doing when I was watching this movie, because maybe I wasn't just fully paying attention that he was actually taking the body parts. But that's what he's doing. Anyway, the cops get involved. There's an investigation. They're some of the dumbest cops I've ever seen. There's this one kid, though. God bless his heart. He's like, he gets a letter, and he gives it to this other guy. I think it's a cop. So much happens.
Latest, they've just installed a waterbed in the training room.
Have you ever been laid on a waterbed?
The most beautiful thing in the world is smoking pot and fucking on a waterbed at the same time.
But I remember the line. He says, I didn't bear bad news. If I did, I just have to go kill myself.
Don't tell me I'm the bearer of bad news. I could kill myself.
No, it's all right.
Good, I'm too young to die.
I'm like, I was like, oh my God. Then there's another line with the cop, like this big hulking guy, right? He's fighting off these cops and students, and he's like, and then finally the cop just pulls out his gun. He finally, after getting beat down for like a few minutes, he pulls out his gun. He's like, stop it, or I will blow your brains out. You know, I'm like, oh my God, I'm laughing because it's just like, oh, it was so funny. And the killer, right? The killer. I mean, it's just so funny. I mean, I laughed so much during this movie. This is the greatest horror comedy of all time. I gotta find this on Blu-ray. I have to find this on Blu-ray. It's incredible. I mean, it's so cheesy. It's so funny. It's so deadly. You don't have to go to Texas for this. That's for sure. You don't. Leatherface wouldn't do half the stuff this guy did. But I will say this, even though it's not intentional, this is like in my top 10 horror comedies of all time. Even though it's not intentional. It's a great slasher movie. It is. It's not, but it is. There's one scene, I don't want to get to the waterbed yet, but okay, there's a girl taking a shower, right? Okay, there's a curtain, right? She doesn't close the curtain. It's wide open for everyone to see. So obviously she likes to be looked at. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Maybe some females that watching this could let us know. If you leave the curtain open, what's that mean? But no, I mean, and she gets out, she's got a towel on, then the killer strikes. I mean, I was kind of hoping he was going to strike her in the bathroom, in the shower, give a little psycho feel to it, but no, he waits. It's funny. She goes through the door. It kind of comes like The Shining a little bit, because he's got the chainsaw going through the door. I suck at sound effects, but he's going through the door, and she's looking like Shelley Duvall from The Shining. You know, I'm just like, oh my god, yes, this is awesome. But no, in all seriousness though, he ends up killing her. And then I'm gonna get to the elevator scene real quick. There's this one girl, and I don't remember her name because in this film you really don't remember the names of the people. You really don't. I don't even. I'm not even sure they even said her name, but she was kind of like the lead female girl that ends up getting killed. She was in a few scenes. Most of these girls are only in one scene, and that's to get killed. But this girl was in a couple scenes. And she got scared once. He was stalking her once, and she was walking down this hallway, and somebody opened the door. You know, and I'm like, oh man, I was like, really? Mm-mm. But I like it because he's still breathing. You know, he's just, oh my god. I guess he was doing his, and this is 1982, so this would have been Friday 13th Part 3. So I'm gonna bet this. Kane Hodder watched this movie and got his. You know, I bet he did. I almost bet he did. This is his inspiration to play Jason. This was it. Pieces was his inspiration for Jason Voorhees with the breathing in and out. Yeah, I don't have no clue, but I think if it is, it's great. It's awesome. But anyway, she's getting on the elevator. You know, those open door elevators from the old times. I have never used one or ever saw one except for in films. So I can't remember the last recent film I saw that you had to open the gate to get in an elevator. But she gets in an elevator with this guy. He's the killer. He's been stalking her for at least a couple of days, right? He's got a chainsaw behind his back. Not making it up. He has a chainsaw behind his back. A chainsaw. She doesn't notice the chainsaw. How do you not notice the chainsaw? I just want to know. How can you not notice it? So she turns around, like in front, there's a chainsaw, and she's like, ah! And I'm like, oh God, yes. He's just cutting her up, and it's like, how do you not notice there's a chainsaw? But then again, I'm like, I'm laughing so much at the scene. I'm laughing at this scene because it's so funny. First, you don't know there's a chainsaw. You're that blind or whatever, or that scared. I don't know. I don't know how you not know there's a chainsaw there, but you don't know. And I'm like, and he's just cutting away at you. And I'm like, God, this movie is awesome. It is one of the best horror comedies I've ever seen. And it's not meant to be a comedy, but it is. And there's this like reporter that comes to the lieutenant, and it's like, there's nothing going on around here. Then she'll end up talking to the dean. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's been no murders here. What are you talking about, lady? Get out.
Sylvia Costa, the Boston Globe. What's happening at the university?
I don't know what's happening. What's happening?
Get out. But anyway, she still investigates, and she ends up on a waterbed. This may be the most iconic scene in the movie. No, it's not. It gets better. She ends up, okay, the guy has a chainsaw throughout the whole movie, right? In this scene, he's got a knife. A butcher knife, I do believe. And he's going at her he's cutting the water bed, and the water's exploded. Well, it doesn't really explode, it just leaks out, and he stabs her. There's blood in the water bed. I mean, it's you have to see it. It's an amazing scene. It really is. But yeah, I mean, I love it though. He ends up she ends up turning around. She turns over for him so he can stab her in the back, I believe, the back of the head, so it can go out her mouth. So the knife's gonna go out her mouth. But here's what happens. I love this scene. But here's what happens. As he's going to stab her in the back, right in the back, the blade actually breaks, or it's a flubber thing. So it goes like to the left. But I applaud them because they really tried here. But yeah, it just went to the left as the rest of the blade was no. But it was a funny scene. I was laughing. I probably missed some things because I was laughing. So I really was laughing hard at this movie. I love this movie though. I absolutely love it. It's just, sometimes you get a movie that's so bad it's good. It has that charm, as people say. But here's one of my other funny parts of the movie. Okay, there's been some killings going down, and everybody just comes together for a tennis match. And I'm like, did I miss something? Because a tennis match is happening right now. I have no idea who these people are. People applaud, and I'm like, okay, you're applauding for a tennis match that has no explanation. Then you find out one of the tennis players is an undercover cop. With no explanation, they were going to put an undercover cop at the campus. Good idea, just you didn't explain that at all. You just like, okay, we're just going to throw it in there, so hopefully you get it. But anyway, there's one scene with the female undercover cop. She's taking a late night stroll around the campus. And this Asian guy just happens to pop up and starts doing kung fu for no apparent reason. doing kung fu with her, and she kicks him in the nards, right? And he just goes down. Ooh, oh, and I'm like, okay, okay. It was like, why was this scene necessary? Why are we having kung fu in a slasher movie that makes those? This is his only scene, and apparently, and Kendall shows up saying, "Oh, yeah, this is our kung fu teacher, professor, kung fu professor."
Oh, hey, it's my kung fu professor. What's the story, Chow?
Oh, I am out jogging, and next thing I know, I am on ground. Something I eat. Bad chop suey. So long.
Take it easy.
I'm like, kung fu professor. Oh my god, really? Why not, man? Why not? Let's have a kung fu professor. I mean, oh, and then we'll finally get to the end. Like, okay, the cops are so stupid. They don't know what they don't know who to suspect anymore. So they end up bringing Kendall in, because this one cop's like, I don't. He's a suspect, right? You want to bring a suspect to help us solve the case? And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what we're doing. And we're going to bring in a student to help you solve a case. What ends up happening? He figures out who the killer is. The cop's like, well, you stay here and I'll go. No. What am I saying? Oh, I'll call him on the radio. That's what we'll do. And we'll go. I was like, oh my God. How did this guy complete Police Academy? This guy would have been perfect for Police Academy, actually, for the movie. He's so stupid in this movie. My God, the cops were ignorant. Oh, so ignorant. Oh my God, they were so stupid. Oh, it's great. You know, and I was telling Aaron about I was watching this movie. I'll be honest. I hadn't planned to do any reviews this week. I ain't gonna go into reason why or anything. I just wasn't planning on it. And this movie kind of was a saving grace for me because, you know, I was like, okay, I was watching this movie. I was like, okay, I have to review this, and I'm reviewing it on camera. I'm reviewing it for YouTube and also the Anchor app for people to listen for audio and watch it visually. But I was like, this has to be reviewed, and what better place to review it than Atrociously Bad Films? So we end up getting to the end where the undercover cop is in the house of the killer. I'm not going to spoil who the killer is, but if you're watching the movie, you figure it out. Okay, yeah, he's going to end up being the killer. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will say this. You know, for a guy that was obsessed with that puzzle, and he was so obsessed with that puzzle, and he still is, he certainly should have spent more time actually talking to a woman than cutting up body parts. He didn't know how to talk to her. He was supposed to be making her tea, right? And he doesn't know how to talk to her. He's screwing it up. He's like, oh, you know, he just fumbled. He fumbles everything. Anyway, we get to the point where he drugs her, and I did notice one thing with one girl. He was trying her shoes, see if they would fit. And I was like, what's he doing? You know, because I didn't know he was, like I said before, I didn't know he was creating his own puzzle, so to speak. He's creating his own puzzle with that woman. It's manifested something that's disturbing, bizarre, creepy. I mean, everything you can come up with. It's just not normal. And well, obviously it's not normal. I mean, he killed his mom, beheaded his mom with an axe. So of course it's not normal. But he's recreating this puzzle, right? And I guess the female cop's gonna be but she's not actually the final piece, because once we get to the end, you find out there's a hidden door there, and but anyway, before we get there, Kendall and the cops come in. They're so stupid. They don't realize they end up killing the guy, shooting him in the head. He's dead, right? So we think. So he ends up getting shot in the head. So he's dead. Well, actually, before that happens, they came in the room and he's not there. So they just leave. They go searching elsewhere for a minute. And while Kendall and the killer end up having a fight, Kendall is about to be killed by the guy with the knife, not a chainsaw. Should have had a chainsaw in the end. He has a chainsaw throughout the whole movie. Why not the end? But he's getting ready to kill him, and the cop shows up. The main one ends up shooting him in the head, and the female cop's gonna be all right. So the cop ends up leaning on the wall. It's a hidden room, and what comes out of that hidden room? A sewed up woman with different body parts. That he was trying to recreate that puzzle. I'm like, wow. Just wow. I'm like, really? Wow. Okay, that's something. It was a hilarious experience though, but that isn't the kicker. That is not the biggest shocker of this movie. The biggest shocker of this movie is the final shot of the movie. They were going for that Friday the 13th thing though. Everything about it. It just screamed Friday the 13th. So they're walking by, and the cops telling him not to think about, not to brute over this too much. I think it's the word he used, brute.
Don't brood over it, kid. Let's go.
Hey, my jacket.
The killer's hand reaches up, grabs him in the groin area, and is ripping his well, I don't know actually how to say that. It looked like a werewolf ripping your nards out, your penis, whatever you want to say. He's ripping all that area out, and the guy's just screaming like he became a scream queen for a second, and Kendall becomes a scream queen. But that is the most hilarious scene I've seen in a movie, in a horror movie. That tops it all. I've missed a lot of 80s bad horror, but I can't imagine anything topping this. As far as how it ends, that is classic. If it would have been a good movie, everybody been talking about it. But their marketing tool, you don't have to go to Texas for this. You sure don't. You don't, man. You don't. You go to, I think it was New England. You go to New England for this. Yeah, you go to New England. And I had fun with this movie though. I'm on Markout meter. Here we go. I'm giving it four markouts on the Markout Movie Podcast meter. And why am I doing that is because, first off, okay, the gore in this movie was legit. It was really good gore. I didn't care about any character because there were no characters. The random girls that got killed, there was I think for most 80, I wouldn't say most, but if for the males, the male gender that watch an 80s horror movie, it was gonna, all your criteria, all your checklist, it's gonna check it. It will. It'll check everything. But for me, I was very entertained by watching this movie. I was so entertained. I laughed throughout the whole movie. This was awesome. Like I said, if I can find it on Blu-ray, I will. Pieces is Is it a good horror movie? Absolutely not. If it was, it wouldn't be on this show. But it's a very entertaining horror film. It makes you think a little bit. I was like, okay, the killer though, everything he was doing, you think about it, it's like, man, this guy was messed up. I like to know what messed him up so much. What was so special? Why was that puzzle so special to him? That's what I would like to know. That's my final thoughts here. When dealing with this guy, I was like, man, that puzzle really did something to him. He was so mesmerized by the female body that he wanted to recreate this puzzle. And there's no therapist in the world that could save a guy like that, that's going to do that. But all the horror stuff, all the, the gore and the kills and the so-called characters in this movie, they're hilarious, man. Some of their kills are hilarious. I had a lot of fun watching this, though. I had a blast. 4 out of 5 for me. I hope you enjoyed this review. I had a lot of fun doing it. I did. I had a lot of fun. So I'm going to close it out here real quick. I don't know what's coming up this week. I mean, I really honestly don't know. I don't know what Aaron, I know Aaron said he's going to do something in Shudder, horror and Shudder. He's the Markout Rifters. He talked about doing something like with that. Maybe analyze this. Of course, this week we're going to do Cop Car on Friday. But as far as I go, I don't really have anything planned. I thought about doing that Netflix movie In the Tall Grass. I thought about reviewing that, but I wasn't sure if I would do it on video. I think now I may do it, but I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this movie. It put a smile on my face, and I think at the end of the day, that's what movies are supposed to do. They put a smile on your face. It doesn't matter the genre. It makes you feel good. And this is bad horror, and it was so funny and it's so outrageous. It just made me feel good, which I needed. So kudos to Pieces. Thank you very much. So until next time, everyone, thank you for watching, listening, doing what you do. Thank you. Just thank you, Aaron's probably going to edit this out, but I just want to say thank you to everyone that does listen and does watch. We do appreciate it here on the Markout Movie Podcast. But anyway, I am Brandon Spivey, and I am leaving you now to, I don't know, eat some pizza. I'm going to go eat some pizza. Yeah. Cowabunga, dude. So anyway, I am Brandon Spivey, and thank you for marking out with me today on Pieces on Atrocious Bad Films. Peace out.